Hey everyone, welcome back to Politically Speaking, where we break down important topics and make them easy to understand. Today we're diving into a question that's super important, but often misunderstood. What is democracy?
Democracy. It's a word we hear all the time on the news, in debates, and even on social media. But what does it actually mean? Is it just about voting, or is there more to it than that? In this video, we're going to break down democracy, not in fancy terms, but in a clear, simple, and meaningful way.
All right, so first things first, what is democracy? In the simplest terms, it means rule by the people. It's a system of government where the power to make decisions lies in the hands of the people themselves.
This is usually done through elections, where people vote for leaders to represent them. There are many types of government, like dictatorships, where one person holds all the power, and monarchies where kings and queens call the shots. But democracy is different. It's based on the idea that everyone should have a say in how the country is run. To really understand democracy, let's take a quick trip back in time. The word democracy comes from ancient Greece, specifically from a city called Athens. Modern democracy started shaping up in the 17th and 18th centuries. Countries like the United States, France, and England adopted systems where citizens could vote for their leaders.
But even then it wasn't perfect. Lots of people were still left out, like women, black people, and people experiencing poverty. Today, democracy has expanded to include more people than ever before, but the journey didn't happen overnight, and even now, it's still evolving.
So, what makes a democracy work? Let's talk about a few key features.
1. Free and fair elections. In a democracy, elections are how people choose their leaders. These elections must be free, meaning everyone has the right to vote without facing threats or being forced to pick someone they don't want. They must also be fair, meaning no one can cheat or rig the results. 2. Rule of law. This means everyone, including the government, must follow the law. In a democracy, no one is above the law, not even the president. Laws are made through a process where the people's representatives debate and decide what's best for the country.
3. Individual rights. In a democracy, everyone has certain rights that can't be taken away, like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and the right to protest. These rights protect people from the government abusing its power. 4. Majority rule, minority rights. One of the trickiest things about democracy is balancing the will of the majority with the protection of minorities. In a democracy, most decisions are made based on what the majority wants, but that doesn't mean the rights of smaller groups can be ignored. Everyone deserves to be treated fairly, no matter who they are or how they vote.
Why does democracy matter? You might be wondering, okay, I get what democracy is, but why should I care? Great question. First of all, democracy gives you a voice. In a democracy, you can vote for the leaders and laws that affect your life. Things like education, jobs, healthcare, and housing. These things directly impact you, so having a say in how decisions are made is a big deal. Secondly, democracy protects your freedom. Imagine living in a country where you couldn't say what you think, where you couldn't protest when things weren't fair, or where you had no choice but to follow orders from someone you didn't choose. In a democracy, you have the right to express your opinions, to disagree with your leaders, and to demand change when things aren't working.
But here's the thing. Democracy only works when people participate. If we don't vote, if we don't stay informed, if we don't speak out when things go wrong, then democracy starts to weaken. It's like a muscle. You have to exercise it for it to stay strong. According to the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, also known as International IDEA, democracy has been declining worldwide for the past 8 years. What does that mean? It means the core elements that make a democracy function, like free elections, a strong legal system, and active political participation, are weakening in many countries.
Now let's be real. Democracy isn't perfect. There are some real challenges out there. In 2008, about 65% of eligible voters participated in elections, but by 2023, that number dropped to just 55%.
Challenges to democracy. Now let's be real. Democracy isn't perfect. There are some real challenges out there. Here's a shocking statistic. In 2008, about 65% of eligible voters participated in elections worldwide. But by 2023, that number dropped to just 55%. That's nearly a 10% decline in voter turnout in just 15 years. And it's not just about fewer people voting. 1 in 3 elections today is being contested, meaning that people are more likely to challenge the results. Losing parties are more frequently refusing to accept defeat, sometimes even taking their grievances to the courts. One big challenge is voter apathy. That's when people just don't care enough to vote or get involved. This can be a huge problem because when fewer people vote, the decisions aren't truly reflecting the will of the majority.
Why is this happening? Well, we can highlight several reasons. There's increased foreign interference in elections and the rise of misinformation. And with social media and the internet, it's easy for false information to spread quickly. Disinformation, where false information is spread to confuse or mislead voters, and even the misuse of artificial intelligence in political campaigns. When people believe things that aren't true, it can mess up elections and make it harder for democracy to function properly. There's also the issue of inequality. Even in democratic countries, some groups may have more power or resources than others, which can skew the system. Money, for example, plays a significant role in politics. Wealthy individuals or corporations can fund campaigns and influence laws in ways ordinary people can't.
Now let's break it down by region. In Africa, the democratic situation is mixed. While some countries like Burundi and Zambia are improving, others, particularly in the Sahel region, have experienced military coups. In Burkina Faso, for example, the military took over, accusing the elected government of failing to live up to its promises. Meanwhile, in Western Asia, about a third of the countries are struggling with democratic performance. Europe, too, is also seeing its own challenges, especially regarding civil liberties and the rule of law, though countries like Montenegro and Latvia have made some progress. In the Asia-Pacific region, most countries have experienced either minor declines or stability. But countries like Fiji, the Maldives, and Thailand have made notable strides toward democratic governance.
The future of democracy. So what can be done? According to Kevin Casas Zamora, the Secretary General of International IDEA, elections remain the best hope to reverse this global democratic decline. But that's only possible if they are free, fair, and credible. The power of democracy lies in its ability to reflect the people's will, but that only works if people participate, if they trust the system, and if leaders accept the results. So, what does the future hold for democracy? That's up to us. As young people, as citizens, we're the ones who will shape what democracy looks like tomorrow. The choices we make today, whether it's voting, staying informed, or speaking out, will determine how strong or weak democracy will be in the future. It's also worth noting that democracy is constantly evolving. New technologies, social movements, and global challenges continually push us to rethink how we can make democracy more inclusive and fair.
So there you have it. Democracy at its core is about giving you a voice. It's about making sure the people have the power to shape their future. But democracy isn't just something that happens every few years during an election. It's something that we live every day through our actions and our choices. Every voice counts, and every effort to protect civil liberties and uphold the rule of law is crucial to keeping democracy alive.
I hope this video helped clarify democracy and why it's crucial. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that button so you never miss an episode of Politically Speaking. Thanks for watching, and remember, your voice matters, so use it.